Ghosts of War, hard canvas. What do we got today? Says Ryan Ludwin. He's poking around inside 2 styrofoam to-go plates from the chow hall. They're full of oranges, apples, and grapes. They're full of silver dollar pancakes and small packets of syrup. They're full of bite-sized breakfast sandwiches and bacon and sausage. They sit beside boxes of orange juice, grapefruit juice, fruit punch, which are all covered in Arabic writing. It's 5:45 a.m., and the to-go plates sit on the hood of our Humvee. We're all half asleep, sipping coffee, and munching breakfast. Tom Skavensky, our gunner, walks across the motor pool with his M60 machine gun. Ken Reniger, my A driver, comes by, a Marlboro Red in his hand. He takes a drag, pats me on the back, and thanks me for grabbing breakfast. How are we this morning, Smitty? He asks. Pretty good, Sarge, I say. Ready for another day? Yep, he says as he grabs a sausage, egg, and cheese on an English muffin. I'm the driver of this Humvee, bumper number H105, and only I have the keys. So early in the morning, shortly after the chow hall opens, I drive down, pick up breakfast for my crew, and bring it back to the barracks. It isn't really one of my duties, but I feel it's important to have a full stomach before we head out. In the middle of the day, no matter how hungry we are, it's hard to eat. It usually hovers around 125 degrees in this part of Iraq, and when it's that hot, your stomach wants only water. Anything else feels sickening. There are 3 other Humvees in the convoy and an M916 hauling concrete supplies. They're parked throughout the front of the barracks. Their drivers, gunners, and A drivers are loading gear, water, and ammo. I follow Skavensky to the ammo shed where he pulls out 4 OD boxes, green boxes, and gives me 2 of them. When we get back to the Humvee, I hand them up to him as he stands on our armored roof. So, what did you get me for breakfast, he asks. Spanish quiche and a Bloody Mary, I say. Nice, he says, laughing. We're ready to pick you up a filet mignon later. Lieutenant Zellweger rallies the briefing. We form up in a circle around him. It's still dark out, so he holds a flashlight up to the strip map of the route we'll be working on today. We've been doing this mission for over a month, so we pretty much have it down to a science. Nonetheless, outside the wire is outside the wire, and the enemy, no doubt, despises the mission. The ground in Iraq is extremely hard, not made for digging or planting. It's a landscape's worst nightmare. IEDs work best when they're buried, so that convoy can't see them, but because of the hard earth, most IEDs are set on top of the ground. As one goes off, it creates a small crater. As the insurgents set IEDs in the same craters over and over, the holes become bigger and bigger. Some of the holes are so big we can stand in them, like we're inside a foxhole. The problem with craters this large is that convoys passing by them can't see the bombs until it's too late. Our mission is to pour concrete into holes created by IEDs. Turks are helping us, and the insurgents hate this even more. American soldiers are one thing, but Muslim traitors are another. The Turks are the ones on both posts who mix and pour concrete for barriers, bunkers, landing pads, sidewalks, and buildings. They come out with us every day with 2 concrete mixing trucks. We go outside the wire wearing full battle rattle. That's a full combat load, about 50 pounds. It's 125 degrees out, and we shovel debris out of the holes, pound rebar into the ground, rake the concrete even, and pull security. In some spots, whole sections of road are blown apart and degraded. A sister engineer company helps us with this. They are dozers, loaders, and graders to rip up the road, exposing the dirt underneath. This hard dirt becomes our canvas. We come in behind the sister company and pour a new concrete road. We work in shifts. Ryan Ludwin is on the first team. I, the driver, am on the second. Tom Skavensky, the M60 gunner, is on the third. Ken Reniger, my A driver, supervises. We take turns forming the concrete manning the M60 and sitting in the Humvee, cooling off in the heat sent air conditioning system we've hooked up. 2 large tubes run from the truck to the 2 front seats. They blow refreshing cold air down the back of the necks of the driver and A driver. We have a cooler with ice and water, and we drink no less than 4 2-liter bottles of water every day. When the 2 concrete mixers run out, 2 of the Humvees escort them back to the base for refill, and everyone takes an MRE lunch. Afterward comes round 2. We usually get back into base around 3 o'clock. The schedule is never the same. For security, it can't be. Moving steadily down the road from 9 to 5 on Monday through Friday would create a pattern. We work 1 day on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off, and we jump around the route like crack-addicted rabbits. The hardest part of a lengthy mission like this is not becoming complacent. A month without attacks can really alter your perception of danger. That's just what the enemy wants. So we have to keep him guessing. We have to keep ourselves guessing. Every day we're out there, the danger increases. A medic from the sister engineer company nearly loses his foot on the mission. His Humvee moves off the road to the side of the job site. He finds a great spot to pull security. The enemy is counting on this great spot. By the time they see the IED sitting in the nearby bushes, it's too late. The medic is sent to Germany where the doctor saved his foot. The IED is small and he is lucky. Moments like this shatter us from our complacency. There are 4 vehicles, all Humvees, all Humvee convoy, and a great way to travel because you can fly down the road without worrying about M916s or bulky concrete mixers having to keep up. The faster we go, the better the chances of throwing off the triggerman's timing. We receive an additional mission outside of the route we are working on. It's a giant IED crater on some inside road. I am driving the 3rd Humvee. Reniger is my A driver, and Skavensky is our gunner. Ludwin, one of the concrete guys, and 3rd Squad doesn't come. Our small convoy drives to the wrecked site. Lieutenant takes photos and notes. On the way back to camp, Lieutenant, who's in the 1st Humvee, comes over the radio and says, "We're going to take a quick detour to the route we are currently working on." He just wants to check it out and find out whatever extra details he can. We fly down the road, jumping on and off the large patches of concrete we poured. We spray paint the pads, the canvas, while they're still wet. This is to ensure that after we leave and the concrete is still drying, no one can come and slip in an IED. We cruise over these random spray patterns. Someone played tic-tac-toe on one part, the X1. Someone else signed his name. I see the Shroom Platoon and self-proclaimed nickname, the Shroom Platoon, because we're shit on all day and then left in the dark. It's a joke, but not really. We travel 60 miles per hour down the unimproved road. The roar of the diesel engine is the only thing I can hear. I watch the vehicle ahead of me, the second one in the convoy. I continually vary my distance, trying to throw off any timing a potential triggerman may have. The second Humvee, call sign Hunter 2, swerves drastically to the left side of the road. On the right side of the road, clear as day, there's a short black cylinder. The adrenaline releases and my mind focuses. From the cylinder across the hard tan earth run 2 wires. One is black, the other is red. We are too close to stop, and I slam the pedal to the floor. The wires run for about a meter until they hit tall weeds that grow along an irrigation ditch. No one is around, but there's no way of knowing how far those wires run. The handheld radio crackles to life. "Did you see that one?" the vehicle ahead of me asked, Lieutenant. And now we are almost on top of the small black cylinder. It's a landmine, and there's no time to stop. "Get the fuck down, Ski," Ken Reniger yells to our gunner. "If I stop now, we'll land somewhere directly before or directly after the ID, so I keep my foot on the floor and pray. I pull the Humvee as far to the left as I can, and we roar past the landmine. That split second is in eternity. I anticipate the pop of point-blank thunder. I anticipate red pieces of Reniger flying into me. Think of zombies. There are 3 pictures hanging from the windshield. 2 are school pictures of Reniger's daughter and son. The other is the Blessed Mary. She holds her son, and a wide sunburst halo shines from behind her head. The pictures swing to the right as I swerve the Humvee. Bumper number H105 to the left. Skavensky ducks into the turret, the left side of his lip bulging with Copenhagen. Both my hands grip the wheel, and I teeter on the left edge of the road. The speedometer on the Humvee goes only to 60. The needle is buried. No pop. One more vehicle, one more target left to this convoy. Arthur Dodds, who's a trucker back home. Pickleman's dad is the A driver. I struggle to see Hunter 4 in my side mirror. I can't. The small armored window doesn't allow enough room for me to see the whole mirror. Reniger has his Kevlar pressed against his window. I wait for the popping of thunder. "You passed it yet, 4?" asks Lieutenant over the radio. A couple seconds pass, an eternity, before Dodds responds, "Yeah," the radio cracks. "All Hunter elements. This is Hunter 1, Lieutenant says. Halt. Herringbone over." A herringbone is a stagger formation we use when stopping a convoy on the road. The first vehicle, which is always a gun truck, parks sideways across the middle of the road. Its gunner faces 12 o'clock. The second vehicle, which doesn't have to be a gun truck, but is today, parks behind the first to the right of the side of the road. Its gunner faces 3 o'clock. The third vehicle, which doesn't have to be a gun truck, but is today, parks behind the second vehicle to the left side of the road. Its gunner faces 9 o'clock. The last vehicle, which is always a gun truck, parks behind the third vehicle sideways across the middle of the road. Its gunner faces 6 o'clock. We immediately check the surroundings for a second set of IEDs. The enemy knows our tactics well enough to know that a 4 Humvee convoy will usually blow past an IED and park a certain distance away. They'll sometimes set up a conspicuous IED, like, say, a landmine trailing with wires, and plant more inconspicuous explosives a certain distance away. All is clear in our 25-meter sweep, and Lieutenant radios the EOD Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team over the SINCAR single-channel ground and airborne radio system. The secure radio we use outside the wire to contact post command. Then he comes over the handheld radio and gives us directions on where to go in order to secure the site. He knows this route like the back of his hand. He's sure that if we take a farming trail located off to our right and follow the irrigation ditch, it will come out on the road to a location well before the black landmine lying on the ground. Hunter 3, this is Hunter 1, over, he says. 1, this is 3, over, Reniger responds. You follow me on this dirt trail to our right. 2 and 4 secure this side. Nobody passes, not even civilians. Over, Roger 1, Reniger says from our Humvee. Roger 1, says the A driver of the second Humvee. Roger, says Dodds from the fourth Humvee. Reniger lights a Marb red and turns to Skavensky's legs. Be ready, Ski. All right, Sarge, he says. Tom Skavensky is always ready. We follow Lieutenant out and around the weed entrance and irrigation system. We try to drive fast here, but it's difficult on this bumpy dirt road. Nonetheless, we need to move as quickly as possible. Being on a paved road is one thing, but there's no telling what's hiding back here. Lieutenant Humvee throws up a cloud of dirt. The brown dirt has a brick red tint to it, resembling rust. The tall weeds outline the irrigation ditch whiz by. Their healthy green color also seems shadowed with rust. We follow the tall weeds. They remind me of a lengthy row of grapes in a vineyard. The dried clay throws up by Lieutenant Humvee now blocks my view. Skavensky chokes in the dust, and I have to back off. Still back there, 3? Lieutenant asks over the radio. Yeah, we're here, says Reniger, into the handheld, a puff of cigarette smoke blending with the dust in the air. We'll follow your trail over, Roger. We pull around the first turn. A family of sustenance farmers stand off to the side. They're not used to seeing military convoys back here, and they give us a confused look. The children run to the edge and give us a thumbs up. One of them motions for a bottle of water. We fly past them. There's no time for sentiment. We get around the second corner and fly to the paved road. Once there, we set up a small box formation. We pull sideways across the road to both drivers and facing towards the inside. Tom Skavensky points his turret towards 6 o'clock, and Jason DeMarco, Lieutenant's gunner, points his towards 12 o'clock. We wait about 30 minutes, which is exceptionally short for this type of situation, until EOD shows up. They park in between our 2 box formations and break out the bomb-inspecting robot. They shortly conclude that the IED is a dud. It's a fake, conspicuous landmine and was set up only to watch our reaction. The whole time, there's a man standing 300 meters away. He has a pair of binoculars and watching our every move. We can't shoot him because of the Geneva Convention. The Geneva Convention is a series of agreements about the rules of war. And they say we can't shoot anyone who isn't holding a weapon and isn't posing an immediate threat to our convoy. Despite hours of self-debate, we understand that it has to be this way. Imagine if soldiers started shooting civilians without weapons in their hands. Imagine what the news media back home would do with our excuse. He was watching us with binoculars. Abu Ghraib prisoner torture would be a fairy tale by comparison. This is how the enemy knows our tactics. This is how we avoid remaining complacent. We come back out for another month to paint our canvas with Haji concrete and green spray paint. The days are long and hard, but the mission is important. It isn't immediately gratifying. We are sweaty and tired and ripped up. Road ahead of us seems much longer than the patched road behind us. Nonetheless, we are no doubt saving people's lives by accomplishing this mission. It's not direct, but if our efforts stop even one insurgent from reusing a crater to kill another soldier or civilian, the mission is worth it. The local sheik even come out to thank us when, with the help of the sister unit, we replaced an irrigation pipe that ran under the road we were repairing. It has been broken for years. Even though we couldn't give the locals water when we flew past them after the fake ID, we provided them with irrigation water they hadn't seen in years. This isn't a weapons cache search mission during which we kick down doors looking for suspects. We pour concrete. No news reporters follow us around because soldiers saving lives aren't as interesting as soldiers taking lives. America's not aware of the honor of war unless it involves POWs or medals of valor. Sometimes it's frustrating the way our efforts seem left on the ground in Iraq, spray paint on Haji concrete. The hard canvas we paint in Iraq is one of scar tissue. It's a bunch of holes crudely patched with cheap concrete. It's a stretch of road that was previously unmanageable. It's a makeshift job, but it works. It doesn't match the rest of the road, but the Shroom platoon has done its part.